Hey everybody, I wanted to give you a bit of a brief overview or part of my exploration from the Live and Love on Wednesday and just talk about the how and the why. And I've kind of phrased it in an interesting way to really put emphasis on the how, not as something that we need or we have to recognize in a way that our perceptions are going to agree with, but letting it go. That how being how a certain outcome or perceptive result manifests, and for many of us, that's a healing. And so I imagine, at least for me, that's why I came into reconnective healing, is for my own healing and that how, because the problem really isn't the how itself. The how always happens. And so when I ask people, what age do you learn to heal at? It's kind of a good question to get them moving into that. But you never learned. And however people choose to respond to that, that allows me to gauge where they're at and that understanding. If it takes them by surprise, maybe they're still trapped somewhere in that how, trying to figure it out. And that's why I believe that the fundamental suffering that manifests, that people experience, is due to the fact that they are in an experience and they are comfortable with it, and so they are holding back and they don't want to leave that experience, or they really just hate where they are and so they're trying to push out of it. And knowing with reconnective healing that everything is always moving, things are touching, nothing is touching, there's always vibration, there really isn't any sort of a need. It's an inclination to move, or not move. However, it's just that reconnective healing is part of that fundamental how things heal. We don't need to know how. You could be the greatest doctor, clinician, researcher in the world, and you won't know at any given moment what every one of your 50 trillion cells are doing. That's the intelligence speaking through you. Those are the frequencies that are speaking through you. That is part of the how. The why, your purpose in being here, is empowering that how, in that when you allow yourself to step out of the way, literally, and allow the being that's been tailing you the whole time, that's there to support you at every given moment, to walk past you, you can follow in its footsteps. It can take you where you need to go without wondering how you're going to get there, because we can drive ourselves crazy trying to figure out the how of whichever kind of outcome we are going to approach. But essentially, all we need to do is recognize the why, and the why is part of that being that's behind us. And when we step aside and let it flow forward, that healing flow forward, the how manifests through the why, which is why the how is so important for the healing. But perception likes to sit down and have a conversation with it. It wants to have an interview or even a documentary with the how because it needs to know. But we don't need to know. We already know. And that's through knowingness, not a knowledge, because knowledge is always trying to behave in a way that elevates it above something, which is why I see science as a misbehaving child for spirituality, with spirituality birthing science, yet science telling spirituality, this is how you are, this is how it is. So in my exploration, I've been able to really reconcile where I'm at with where I need to be, and how I'm getting to where I need to go, but I don't need to know how that happens. I won't ever know how that happens. And we get to make the dumb decision of following our brains or our heart. Sometimes they'll coincide, sometimes they won't. But in the case they don't, I'm sure you already know which answer you would choose in the frequencies when you're with them. So I hope you enjoyed this. If you have any comments or questions, please leave them in the comments section below, and I'd love to hear from you.